I'm opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. I'm opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. I'm opening, I'm opening, I'm opening, I'm opening, I'm opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. I'm opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. I'm opening, I'm opening, I'm opening, I'm opening, I'm opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. I'm opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. I'm opening, I'm opening, I'm opening, I'm opening.
Good morning, and welcome to Unity of Louisville, where our mission is to transform ourselves and the world through love. I'm Reverend Ray Nelson. I'm the senior minister here, and it's my honor and privilege to be a member of this community. We like to start with some acknowledgement of those people who are in service on a Sunday morning, each and every Sunday. So we give thanks for Sonny back on our sound booth and James on our PowerPoint. We have our ushers and greeters who do such a wonderful job seeing the Christ walking in, seeing that Christ presence in each of you. We have our meditation today is by Reverend Valerie, our daily word by Robert Bagley, our music team, John Spencer, Deb Reinhardt-Sprocius, and Phil Crowther. And we wish Phil will be traveling to England for the first time in 10 years? 12 years. So we hold him in prayer. See safe travels for him as he traverses the globe now. He's a globetrotter. And also special guests today. They are new old friends of ours. And special announcement, they also are celebrating their wedding that just happened just recently. So Untethered Soul. So we see safe travels for you also as you go to California on your honeymoon, seeing that just being a blessed event. So I'm going to invite Bill Kuntz up here. He's got a special announcement about our upcoming class.
We're going to have a class again in abundance, and I took the class, which I guess was the first time that particular class had been offered here. I found it very good class. The material was good, but what really was beneficial in the class for me was there was a lot of class discussion, both as groups. There was some one-on-one and small group discussion, which I found very beneficial. And the other thing was just to keep an open mind. It was fun to watch where other people were and to connect with them and see where they are on their journey as well as where I am on mine. So I highly recommend it. It was a wonderful 5 weeks, and if you're thinking at all of doing something like that, I highly recommend it. Thank you.
It was always nice to have my tailor and clothes dresser there because I had my keys clipped to my belt and I looked like a longshoreman instead of a minister today. And I forgot, so sometimes I forget the most important thing. which is our speaker today, our good friend, Gerry Boylan. Yeah. So we're using his book. It's the conclusion of our series on his book, and Gerry's so humble, he wouldn't even point out, I am speaking today. So thank you, Gerry, for being here. So enough of all that. Let's open in prayer. So let's just take a moment and allow ourselves to become present to this time, this moment. Set aside any thoughts of what came before to get us here, what comes after, and allow ourselves that gift to be present to this moment. As we center ourselves, possibly taking that breath to keep ourselves centered in this moment, connecting with our heart space, which also connects us to each other. We have set an intention to listen deeply, listen with those ears of our heart to all that is spoken. The words, the meditation, the message, the music, to open ourselves up and allow ourselves the opportunity for a new experience, an experience of the divine. To move beyond what we think and move into a deeper awareness. And for that opportunity to come together freely on a beautiful Kentucky day, we are so grateful. And we say, thank you, God. And let's say that together. Thank you, God. One more time.
Thank you, God.
One last time.
Thank you, God.
And so it is. Amen.
Please stand and join us for our song, I Am Free, I Am Unlimited.
I am free, I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited. Right now, right now. I am free, I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited. Right now, right now. You are free, you are unlimited. There are no chains that bind you. You are free, you are unlimited. Right now, right now. You are free, you are unlimited. There are no chains that bind you. You are free, you are unlimited. Right now, right now. We are free, we are unlimited. There are no chains that bind us. We are free, we are unlimited. Right now, right now. We are free, we are unlimited. There are no chains that bind us. We are free, we are unlimited. Right now, right now.
Thank you, and you all may be seated. I did forget to say that we want to continue to hold the Serenity Hikers in prayer on their long trip, I believe, to Starved Rock right now. So we just want to see that everything is good for them. I know there was some weather swung through next week. Well, we'll hold them in prayer next week. Well, we'll hold you in prayer next week then. So, well, we'll hold you in prayer this week for a good trip next week. Okay. Okay. Trying to keep my calendar straight is almost impossible. All right. So we are an inclusive, compassionate, prosperous spiritual community, recognizing the divine in all people and seeing the unlimited possibilities available to everyone. And for that reason, we are extremely excited to be able to welcome anyone who's here for the very first time. So if you're here for the first time, would you honor us by just raising your hand as I'm raising my hand? Any first-time visitors? Got one up front, got a couple people in the back there, Donna. And just keep your hand up for just a second so they have an opportunity to get to you. We're giving you a packet of information about the Unity movement, about this Unity Church, and also there is a card on the front of that packet that if you fill that out and take it downstairs to our welcome desk, we have a little gift for you. Also, there is a candle. It's a gift from our congregation, and it is so that we can notice you and acknowledge you after the service, answer any of your questions, and just be a welcoming presence for you today. Also, there's a little affirmation on that candle that says, as you light this candle, remember that light, that Christ light already shines within you. And all that is important, but we want you to know that wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. We welcome you, we bless you, we behold the living presence of God in you. Can we welcome our first-time guests? And as that inclusive, welcoming community, we also like to take time to greet each other, to greet that Christ presence in the other. And we can do that in a variety of ways. We can do it with a handshake, a hug. We are very much a hugging church. So, but let's always acknowledge the other person and ask before we hug. Let's greet each other.
I am free, I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited. Right now, right now. I am free, I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited. Right now, right now. You are free, you are unlimited. There are no chains that bind you. You are free, you are unlimited. Right now, right now. You are free, you are unlimited. There are no chains that bind you. We are free, you are unlimited. Right now, right now. We are free, we are unlimited. There are no chains that bind us. We are free, we are unlimited. Right now, right now. We are free, we are unlimited. There are no chains that bind us. We are free, we are unlimited. Right now, right now.
Thank you, and you may be seated. And we like to anchor our service with an affirmation. This month we are using our 12 power, I guess we're going to use our vision. Never mind. Okay, we're using our vision. So we will say this together. Together. Unity of Louisville is an inclusive, prosperous, compassionate community celebrating oneness and infinite possibilities. And now with the singing of the Lord's Prayer, we move into a time of prayer and meditation, and know that at the conclusion of the Lord's Prayer, there will be a time of silence as our oneness blessers bless the congregation.
O Heavenly Spirit, who in love abideth, we worship Thee, we praise Thy holy name. Teach us Thy children evermore to love Thee. Thy will be done in earth as heaven today. Teach us Thy children evermore to love Thee. Thy will be done in earth as heaven today. the coming morrow. Forgive our debts as others we forgive. Thou leavest not thy children in temptation, and from all error thou deliverest us. Thine is the kingdom, thine the power and glory, world without end, forevermore. Amen.
And so it is. A reading from the Daily Word for today, Sunday, June 10th, 2018. The word for the day is consciousness. The affirmation is, I use my creative power for a fulfilling life. New Thought leader Emmett Fox said, we have the key to life, and that key is that life is a state of consciousness. He went on to say, the great creative word is I am. It is the secret of life. How exciting to know I hold the key to life through my consciousness and the creative power of my words. Whatever I hold in thought, whatever thoughts I connect with my divine nature, I demonstrate in my life. When I connect my consciousness with I am, the divine power within me, I use my creative power to bring about the good I desire. In God consciousness, I am continually aware of my divine power. I affirm the truth about myself. I am good. I am worthy. I am love. I am whole. I am wise. The Bible reading is, I can do all things through him who strengthens me. I use my creative power for a fulfilling life.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of love is in this place. Surely the presence of peace this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of peace is in this place. And so now, as we begin just to rest upon our seats and just feel your body right where it is. And I invite you to take a deep breath in and just to breathe out whatever hustle and bustle that it took to get here this morning and to become fully present to this place. Taking another deep breath in and letting go. And if you haven't already done so now, I invite you to close your outer eyes and take one more deep breath in and just exhale. And we begin with gratitude. We say thank you. Thank you to that universal presence that is here with us right now, which lives inside of each of us, allowing us to do that which is ours to do in each and every moment. With ease and grace, we unfold as that I am spirit rejoices with love, with joy, and with peace radiating from the center of our being. Seeing that golden light of love flowing in and through your whole being, from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet, and allowing that energy to clear and cleanse away any darkness, any sadness, any anxiety, just opening up to that divine being which you are. And we just continue to let that divine energy, that golden light, flow in and through us. And take a moment to rest. And now as you gently take a breath in and sending out any negativity that you're holding on to, allowing it to be flushed from your being, and to continue to hold that radiant light, that healing energy within your heart, allowing it to radiate and touch those next to you, and surrounding them in that blanket of love. And as we take another deep breath in through our heart space and expand it outward, seeing it blanketing this beautiful city, every being that is in our state, across the continent, spreading that love, the peace, and the radiance of that divine energy, that divine love, divine mind of consciousness, allowing each being to awaken to the truth of who they are, surrounding this beautiful earth, our home, healing our beautiful home with our love, with our attention, and with our good deeds as we practice being that Christ. Knowing that with practice, all things are possible. The world is unlimited. The universe is unlimited as we break the chains and live free and alive and awake. And so it is. Amen.
Good morning. I'm thinking of the Rumi quote this morning that says, "Your task is not to seek for love, but to find all the barriers you've built against it." Because I know that you've been talking about change and transformation, and that change is hard. And I know that love is the agent of that change. It's the vehicle of it. And I've been thinking about love because we just got married. It's exciting. Thank you. And so I knew just the song that I wanted to do this morning. And the song ties in a love story to the fairy tale love story with the princess and the knight in shining armor and the castle and the key to the castle. And I ran across a website called Circle of Light several years ago, and it stuck with me. It was almost 10 years ago. And it talked about the fairy tale love story and how it's really a metaphor for our yearning to be and feel our connection to God and feel our wholeness and our oneness with God. And that we feel that through our relationships as well. That we are, when we are living or allowing God to live through us and as us, we are the princess. We are the knight in shining armor. We are the castle. And we are the key. And all of our answers lie within us. And so without further ado, this is called Shed Shadow. meadow, cloistered by these hills, built my house of boulders, and now I wait here still. Deep inside these wide walls, deep inside of me, stone it starts to crumble, the thawing of the free. Wanna shed light, wanna shed shadow, wanna shed tears into the night. Don't wanna hide from something that I know. Wanna shed shadow, wanna shed light, wanna shed light, I wanna shed light. So I became Rapunzel, waiting for a night, glint of shining armor, take me out of sight. Key locked in the castle, hidden from my view. Walls, they start to crumble, knowing you are me and I'm you. Wanna shed light, wanna shed shadow, wanna shed tears into the night. Don't have to hide from something that I know. Wanna shed shadow, wanna shed light, wanna shed light, wanna shed light. Dig out the key, dig out the key. I wanna shed light, wanna shed light, wanna shed light.
Thank you all. Our granddaughter's condition has not changed a whole lot in the past couple of weeks. She's not comatose, but she's not completely conscious either. Next stage is planning on bringing her home because she can't stay in rehab forever. And so I continually thank all of you for holding us in your love, your light, your grace, your support. Thank you. May all beings be at peace. May all beings be free of suffering. May all beings remember who they are. Morning. I'm becoming more and more aware of Buddha's second noble choice truth that says all suffering comes from attachment. I'm attached to my home. I'm attached to my shower, my sink, my clothes closet, my privacy, all of the electric sockets that work. And I don't have any of that right now. And when I forget who I am, who I truly am, that begins pain, suffering, discomfort. You know what I'm attached to the most? I'm attached to the most is the way I think things ought to be. And of course they are not. As long as I'm attached to the way I think things should be in my own mind, as long as I am clinging to this illusion of what is not, because things are not the way I would like them to be, I'm clinging to the illusion that they should be this way. And they're not. I find myself in pain and struggling against something that's much bigger than me. Sometimes find myself in anger and hopelessness and discontent. You know, and I can even become attached to those feelings. I've got a right to feel sorry for myself. I've got a right to feel angry. Look what's happening in my life. And you know what? I can find a whole bunch of people that agree with me. As if somehow or another that's going to magically change my pain, my suffering. See, that's the continual dilemma I believe that we find ourselves in. We not only forget our divine nature and its creative power, but we find ourselves identified with this tiny, small personality self that carries with it the illusion that somehow or another it's the center of the universe. And that life and everything should revolve around it and its own wishes. I've been living a lot. I know I mentioned this, I might have mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, but I know I mentioned it in my class. I've been living with this teaching from Richard Bach in his book Illusions, where he said something to the effect of, if you want to know if your task in life is finished, if you're still here, it's not. Now that could mean being here on this earthly plane, but it could also mean being here in the situation you find yourself in, even if it is not what you would like, even if it is something that's beyond your control, even though it's something unpredictable. And see, the difficulty is that most people, like me anyway, I want to get this finished. Whatever the job is, whatever the task is, whatever my spiritual growth is all about, let's get it done so I can kind of sit back and sip lemonade for a while. Right? And you know, I have not completely come to terms with the fact that how did the guides put it to Ram Dass one time? They said, Ram Dass, you're in school. Why don't you take the curriculum? And the curriculum is what shows up in your life. Because in a very real way, without getting into a whole lot of metaphysics, in a very real way, your soul created that curriculum. Because that's what you decided to learn. That's what you decided to do. You're in school. When are you going to decide to take the curriculum? Oh. Now that doesn't mean the curriculum is always going to be tasty. It doesn't mean you're always going to like it. There's going to be a calculus class thrown in there every once in a while. There's going to be a little bit of organic chemistry, right? French literature. Right? Whatever bites you on the behind every once in a while, that's going to show up too. It's not going to be all fun and rosy. You don't pick your curriculum consciously. You don't pick it with your personality self in mind. You pick it with your soul's growth in mind. And you might not always be conscious of what that is. It's very interesting, you know, in the realm of spirituality, somehow or another, we think that getting spirituality or becoming spiritual should be a one-shot deal. You know, you do it, you get saved, you believe, this happens, and you're done. Where else in life does that happen? I get one guitar lesson, I'm finished. I took my vitamins yesterday. I took a shower yesterday. Where in life is anything a one-shot deal? Or how often isn't everything in your life and in my life, if you really look at it honestly, it turns out to be practice? What are you doing? I am learning more about whatever it is that I'm learning. Whether it's on a spiritual plane or on a physical plane, it's still there. But it's absolutely amazing to me that somehow or another, I don't know where it came from, but we got in our heads, in the mindset somehow or another, that if I do this particular piece of spiritual work, it should be done. I should be finished. How often should I forgive my brother? 7 times? 70 times, which is a magical number, by the way. It means for as long, how many times do I need to do this? As long as you need to do it. Oh, well, I prayed for that once. And so what we are being challenged to, what we are being asked to do, is this paradoxical thing, is to practice being who you are. Being the truth of who you are, being your divine self. Sounds easy, sounds simple. But then I have to realize, how much time do I spend practicing what I'm not? How much of your 24-hour day is practicing not your divine self, but practicing some sort of role that you find yourself in? Or some perception of yourself that you've made yourself believe somehow is true? Well, I'm wearing this hat, I'm wearing that hat, I'm wearing this hat. How often are we in judgment? I don't know about you, but what I have discovered about myself in a very unfortunate kind of way is that I am filled with judgment. Judgment happens at the drop of I walk into another room and I'm judging everybody who's standing there. I'm judging body types, I'm judging looks, I'm judging appearance. I'm judging the stories that I think I'm telling myself about that other person. I don't even have any idea whether it's true or not. All of which contributes to my own sense of separateness. I'm practicing who I am not. Whenever I am in judgment, whenever I'm in blame, whenever I'm in shame, whenever I'm in guilt, here I am practicing what I'm not. And then something happens and I wake up. I could have had a V8. I could have done this differently. I could see peace instead of this. And then I don't know what's going to happen to you, but I'm going to fall asleep again. I'm going to forget. I'm going to drink from the river Styx, all right? And I'm going to fall into forgetfulness again. You know, there are certain things that by their very nature put us in forgetfulness, that put us into sleep, put us into unawareness. Usually any kind of stress will do that. If I lose my wallet, or even if I lose my keys, instead of being a divine being, I become somebody who lost their wallet. I become somebody who's frantically looking for their keys. or I become somebody who spilled the coffee. I'm not a divine being who spilled the coffee. I am somebody who spilled and now I got to clean it up. Why did this happen to me? Didn't happen to the person next to me. Should have happened to them, because they were being much sloppier than I was. Right? But it happened to me. The universe has some nerve. How quickly I have forgotten who I am. Getting behind the wheel of a car is another one. If you want to think you're enlightened, drive in Chicago traffic downtown for 15 minutes. See if you can hold on to your divine sense of who you are and the divine sense of everybody else. I'll say 5, how about 30 seconds? It's gone. Here's what my morning meditation looks like sometimes. I usually do kind of concentrate on my breath, breathing in, breathing out. When I breathe in, I say love. When I breathe out, I say create. And I have a little timer I have set for 20 minutes, set the timer, boom, 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 and it's a little flashing light, so it doesn't even make a noise, but it just flashes light, lets me know that 20 minutes are up. That's very cool. So here I am. Love, create. Love, create. And then the thought enters my mind, I was a little uncomfortable last night. Maybe I need to turn the air conditioning down a couple of notches. But you know, if I turn it down a couple of notches, I need to make sure that that light quilt is by my bedside. I wonder where I put it. Oh, it's in the hall closet. Oh, you know what else is in the hall closet? And then I go, I'm supposed to be meditating. Love, create. Love, create. I have to go to the bathroom. I just went to the bathroom before I got started so that wouldn't come up, but here it is. Maybe I can hold it. Do you ever try to hold it going to the bathroom when you're in the middle of meditation? I dare you to stay centered. As soon as that thought enters your mind, it's gone. Okay, I might as well get up now, all right? Here I am, awake, asleep, awake, asleep. And then what happens is I can get so filled with judgment about myself. I know how I'll correct this. I will judge myself so harshly that somehow or another this is going to change. It doesn't. It makes it worse. There are several very simple tools that we all know about that can help us stay grounded and centered when we wake up again. Guaranteed. 5 minutes after I leave here, I will fall asleep and then I'll wake up. I could have remembered I was a divine being. I'm not condemning myself or you for that one. Here we are. But what about taking time to practice or to cultivate the gift of compassion? Compassion isn't feeling sorry for somebody. Compassion is connecting with the other's experience and somehow or another in your sense of awareness, being there with them. Not trying to fix it, not trying to change it, but just simply sometimes that means listening to somebody. But not listening looking for an answer, not listening and just letting your mind wander off. I'll let them chatter away while I'm thinking about what's for lunch. But being there. Carl Rogers, the psychologist, once said, you know, the moment of therapeutic healing happens when the therapist is perfectly present to the client he's working with. I'm not thinking about what to ask you. I'm not patting myself on the back for being so wonderful in my non-directive counseling. I am just present to you in this moment of your pain or your joy or your discovery or whatever it happens to be. I am just here. And when I am present to you, you know, we can remember a lot of people who influenced our lives, teachers and all kinds of, and we might not even remember exactly what a person might have shared with us or did with us. But what we can remember more than anything else is how present we experience that person being with us and to us. That's our gift to one another, one of the many ones. Gratitude is always talked about as a way of consciously opening our heart, whether you feel like it or not. Okay, it's not about an emotion, it's not about a feeling. It's about choose, and I've had a lot of experiences in the past couple of weeks. How do you love when loving is tough? How do you love when you don't feel like loving? Can you imagine if the only time we loved was when we felt like loving? I don't feel like loving you today. But I choose to. I'm not saying my feelings are insignificant. What I am suggesting, though, is they don't have to rule me. Finding or getting in touch or realizing or being aware of my true self, my divine nature, is a lifelong process. It's constantly going on. Gandhi was so involved in this process. Practice every day, that when he was shot, when he lay there dying, his last words were not, "Oh, somebody shot me," or even, "I forgive you." His last word was Ram, the name of God. And he had lived so closely with that awareness, with that truth of reminding himself of the divinity of who I am, that at the moment of his transition, that was the only thought that was there. I am one with the divine. Now, you and I might say to ourselves, that's an impossible task. I can't do that. Well, you're entitled to that if you want to. But what do you get out of telling yourself that you can't do that? What do you get out of imagining that that can't be done? Or what would it be like if you said to yourself, or I said to myself, it is possible for me to know myself and to know you as well as being the divine presence of God. I might not be there all the time, but I have my moments, and so do you. When I'm open to that challenge, what I might realize is that it's uncomfortable. I saw this thing getting around Facebook occasionally about, when God wants you to grow, he makes you uncomfortable. What garbage. God doesn't make you uncomfortable. You're uncomfortable because you're not in touch with the divine truth of who you are. That's why you're uncomfortable. And so to get through that is not to judge our uncomfortability, but to get through that is to say, how can I, very, very simple, how can I do this lovingly? How can I do this with an open heart? How can I do this with as much openness and equanimity as I can possibly find in myself, even if it's just a little bit? How can I be present to this person who is asking for my attention? How can I be there for you? How can I be there with me for you? The Indian mystic Sri Aurobindo once said, every time you take a step, you fall and you get up and you brush yourself off and then you look sheepishly at God and you take another step. And it continues and continues and continues. Are you willing to keep going? That's the real question. Are you willing to let go of getting this thing called life finished? Because it ain't going to until you're ready. Or getting this thing called spiritual growth finished. And just let it be. The last words of the book that we've been using, which by the way I'm greatly honored with. say that whenever confused, lost, angry, or in any way experiencing yourself as being separate from God and your true nature, go back to love. That is always the way. Thank you all. Have a wonderful week.
So I'm a middle school teacher, and this past year felt like that calculus class you were just talking about. It felt like I was taking the calculus class that you were just talking about. It was tough. And, but I grew so much in this year. I brought up teaching because this next song is called Frayed, and it came from a friend of mine who is a teacher. And I saw a Facebook post that she wrote, and it was, I think she must have been tired. She must have had a rough day, and she said, sometimes even the silver lining seems frayed. And I just said, oh my gosh, I love that line, and this is where this song came from. So this is Frayed. What is bravery? Does it mean I have no fear in me? Is it here in me? Oh, why this trembling in the face of all that's real? Am I afraid of all I feel? All I feel. Some days even the silver lining seems frayed. In the mirror, everything's gray. Makes it harder to smile and say, I will try again tomorrow. Oh, but I will try again tomorrow. They mean by the grace of God. As I stumble here at odds with the vision that I thought was so meant to be, when will I learn to let it go? Let it be so. I'm so attached to what I think I know, what I think I know. Someday even the silver lining seems frayed. In the mirror, everything's gray. Makes it harder to smile and say, I'll try again tomorrow. Oh, but I will try again tomorrow. And it seems like things don't really change at all until I look back on where I started from. And when I choose to reach out from my despair, I find inside a brave flame that was always there. And I will try again tomorrow. Oh, I will try again tomorrow. Ooh, I will try again tomorrow.
Thank you. Blessings. That was wonderful. We're so glad that you're here with us today. And congratulations. So I'm going to take a moment and ask our board president, Chuck. Yes.
Can you hear me? Very good, thank you. First of all, I want to express my personal place by matching all those different messages. Thank you. Thank you very much. Your current board, as boards that have preceded them, has a commitment to transparency. Some of you heard this message last week. It'll be a little bit different, so listen for the differences if you would. We, in the past, especially the past few years, the board has used income generated by the investments held by the Unity of Louisville Foundation, what used to be known as the Anderson Foundation, as the Anderson Fund, to match up our income and our expenses. Your new board, elected this past March, has decided to move to what would be considered a best practice. And by that I mean we're going to leave that income in the fund in order to grow for future use, for emergencies, and for investments in other growth opportunities. That decision has certain consequences, as you might imagine. Essentially, we're going to live on rental income and contributions from the congregation at large. Toward that end, our staff has identified over $1,200 in annual savings just by looking around during this past week to help match up, to make that job a little bit easier. And I'm very grateful to Reverend Val for leading that, and for everybody on our staff. If you would, give them a round of applause. Acknowledging that Divine Spirit can only do for us what she can do through us, I have a few requests to make of you today. First, if you currently contribute by check, as I do, I'd like you to give serious consideration to making your contribution by committed giving. There's a form in your pew to fill out and give that to Reverend Val or to put in her inbox. That will help steady your support. It means it won't be subject to inclement weather, vacations, sick leave, visiting relatives, or other things that getting in the way of coming to church, like going to University of Louisville women's volleyball games and basketball games, which is an excuse I often use myself. So if you would please consider doing that. Some deep data analysis has revealed that about 20% of the people who attend our services on a regular basis do not contribute towards our operating expenses. If you find yourself in that number, please consider beginning to make that contribution. If you simply are not in a place to do that, I understand. Please contact Reverend Gwen or Reverend Val to ask how you might volunteer to help those expenses or with our ongoing operation. So that would be good as well. In looking at our income on the positive side of things, the rental income is up significantly, although not substantially. And there's an ongoing effort by a number of people to get that number to rise even higher. However, that's uncertain. We don't really know what we're going to see in the future. So I'm going to speak only about contributions in this next minute or so. For those of you who are contributing, or who are willing to start contributing, if you could add another $4 to $5 per week, we could not only cover our expenses, but we could set money aside. So we actually be in tall cotton. We'd be able to put some money in reserves to take care of those things that pop up, like a $6,000 bill to repair our elevator. So if you would please consider doing that. For those of you who are watching on live streaming, please go to our website, unityoflouisville.org, and follow the prompts to make a contribution that would help us support not only the live streaming, but the overall operation as well. If you find yourself at any time moved to make a one-time donation, at the end of our Sunday service, Reverend Val will be in the back and she'll be able to swipe your debit card or your credit card to make that contribution. Interestingly enough, we had some visitors who were vacationing in Louisville who were members of Unity of Chicago who were here last week. They did that very thing. I don't know exactly how much they contributed, but I was told it was substantial. So if you're a visitor coming to Louisville to vacation, and I can't think of any better place to vacation if you're from the Midwest, please consider doing that. If you're a regular member, please consider that as well. There are some non-monetary asks that I have for your consideration. We have prided ourselves for years on being the best kept secret. That's not where we want to be. We want to be known as that place that people can go to where they will be accepted no matter where they are on their spiritual journey. They will be welcome here. One thing you could do is to go to our Facebook page and share anytime you see a new post. That helps to get that word out. The next thing is we have a community meeting coming up on June 24th, which will meet with the representatives from JRA Architects to talk about the plan they have developed with us for the renovation and repair of our physical plant so that we'll be able to use this place for the next 50 years. That is an informational meeting only. We will not be taking any votes, but we will be there. They will be here to give us the details and to answer our questions. If you possibly can, please attend that meeting. The other thing to know is members of your board will be reaching out to as many people as we possibly can to meet with you in small groups, to talk about our current prosperity plan management, to talk about implementation of our strategic plan, which has an important and large growth element, and also to talk about reaction to the presentation by JRA Architects. I've already spent too much time. So in speaking to you this morning, I really appreciate your time and attention, and if you would please consider a positive response to all of my various asks. Thank you very much, and I acknowledge and bless and I'm happy to see the Christ Spirit in all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck. And thank you to the board for being conscious of our financial situation and taking action. We appreciate that very much. And so now we come to that time where we share our gifts of love and prosperity with each other and with the community. So you take, as our ushers come forward, if you take your love offering into your hand, we're going to bless them with our love as we say together our prosperity proclamation. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive.